Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, and welcome to my kitchen here in Bend, Oregon at my home named Le Papillon. Well, have you ever had one of those days, maybe it's a work week, maybe just a day where you're busy or tired, whether it was good or not good or just in between. At the end of the day, you still want a dessert, and it might just be chocolate. But you don't just want a little truffle, or you don't just want a piece of chocolate, but you definitely don't want to bake and be in the kitchen for a long time and have to wait. You're tired. You want to keep it simple. Well, I have a recipe for you today that is just that. It's simple, it's delicious, it's elevated chocolate flavor, and it's definitely French. What are we making today? We are making Champagne Dark Chocolate Mousse. Yes, you heard me correctly. We are gonna make Champagne Dark Chocolate Mousse. It's as simple as it sounds. You're gonna make a traditional dark chocolate mousse and you're going to add champagne. You're gonna wait 45 minutes for it to chill in the refrigerator. And while it's chilling, you're gonna relax. You're gonna take off your heels. You're gonna take off your shoes. You're gonna take a deep breath. Maybe you wander outside, take a walk around the neighborhood, maybe sit down and chat with your partner or your kids. Maybe just be in your own company. And then in 45 minutes time, the buzzer will go off, or however you want to decide, and you'll grab this mousse and you'll sit back and say, how simple was that? I definitely can do this again. And of course, you'll probably have a few more in the fridge, so you know what? It might be something you enjoy the rest of the week, or everyone in your household gets to enjoy along with you. All right, so in about 10 or 15 minutes, we're gonna have this recipe whipped up and into the fridge so you can relax, because after all, at the end of the day, that's probably the main thing you want to do. Let's get started. Okay, so first we want to make sure we have our chocolate ready to go. Now I am adapting a recipe from one of my favorite bakery cookbooks, Dominique Ansel's cookbook, Everybody Can Bake. Simple recipes to master and mix. If you want to learn just the simple basics but also elevate your French favorites, this bake book or cookbook is one I highly recommend picking up. So I'm adapting his recipe, and we're going to size this down and make it for about 2 to 3 people. So you don't have a ton of chocolate in the fridge. Now, if you have more people that would like to enjoy this with you, you can double this recipe and you will have 4 to 6, depending on how many or how large your mousse dishes are, dark chocolate mousse with champagne to enjoy. So what you're going to need are 5.5 ounces of dark chocolate, your favorite dark chocolate. I tend to go for a brand that's from San Francisco called Scharfenberger. It's what one of our local bakery or grocery stores always has. So have that. You're only going to need, like I said, 5.5 ounces. Have it nearby because you're going to chop that up here pretty quickly. We're going to begin by preparing the milk. You want whole milk. And making sure you have gelatin. This will help it set faster, and it's a very simple addition to do. Something I always have in my pantry is the powder form of gelatin. You can also have the sheets, those are available. And we only need 1 1/4 teaspoon, that's it, 1 1/4 teaspoon of the gelatin for this recipe, or 5 grams. Okay. All right, so we need 1/2 cup of whole milk. Perfect. All right, so we want 1/2 cup of whole milk. We're going to bring this to a boil on the stove. While that's coming to a boil, we'll work with the gelatin. Okay. So with the gelatin, what you're going to want is, like I mentioned, 5 ounces of powdered gelatin, which is equivalent to about 1 teaspoon and 1/4, so 1 1/4 teaspoons. And then you just want 1 teaspoon of cold water. So I'll measure this out. Got my teaspoon here. I already put some cold water here, 1 teaspoon of cold water. Powdered bag, my teaspoon. And the milk is going to heat up pretty quickly. And you're just going to put this right into the water. I have this little whisk, just whisk it up. perfect. You'll notice how it just basically, it'll get kind of stiff too already, really quickly. So that's why I always put the milk first. The milk is boiling, this is good. Now, take this off the heat. And put the gelatin in. Even if the gelatin gets stiff and you're like, oh no, don't worry about it. Just put it in the milk. The milk is warm or hot actually, and it will loosen right back up and you are fine. Now as quick as you can, and you can have this already if you want to. And I almost did. I want my 5.5 ounces of chocolate just broken up into pieces. So each of these bars are 1 ounce, which makes it easy. Just break them up. That's 4 ounces. Here's 5. And I need a half, so I'll take a half of this one. Just save the rest for later. That is also something I usually have on hand in the pantry, is my dark chocolate. I use it for a lot of things, my hot chocolate, my baking, and also for this recipe, obviously, with the dark chocolate mousse. Now, just let it sit. Make sure all the dark chocolate is resting in the hot milk. Let it sit for 30 seconds to a minute. Let the heat really start to work its magic on the dark chocolate. Now, if you have really chunky dark chocolate, chop it up. But as you can see there, I had them in the slabs, and that's fine. That's perfect size. So 30 minutes, excuse me, 30 seconds, let it start to work its magic all on its own. And then we're gonna whisk it. Now, while this is sitting for the 30 seconds, this is when you want to pop the champagne, the prosecco, the cava, the sparkling wine, whatever you have. You only need 1/4 cup. That's it. So let's grab some champagne. I have some Italian rosé prosecco. So we'll get this opened up. There we go. All right. Now, I would suggest not having this chilled. You can chill it afterwards because you might want to, stick it in the refrigerator and enjoy with your chocolate when you enjoy the mousse. But you actually want this room temperature. It will help not cool down milk. You want to keep everything pretty warm as possible while that chocolate is melting. Woo! Oh, love it. Okay, so now. So you just need 1/4 cup. Oh, the bubbles. And wait for the bubbles to calm down so you know exactly how much you actually have. Perfect. Now you're gonna add this to the ganache. Get your whisk out and just mix it up. And you'll see just that 30 seconds of letting the chocolate sit in that warm milk did the work for you. It really broke it down. And just keep mixing until it's melted. I can already smell the champagne or the sparkling wine or the prosecco, whatever has bubbles in it. And this does not have to be, freshly corked, uncorked. If you have some leftover champagne in the fridge, I do from time to time. Sometimes I'll cook with it, make a sauce. In fact, I'll be using some of this in a recipe I'm going to enjoy for dinner tonight. It doesn't have to be this. As long as it's champagne or sparkling wine that you love, you're fine. And you only need 1/4 cup, so you don't even have to buy a full bottle of sparkling wine. Buy a demi bottle, a half bottle. And if your chocolate, for whatever reason, it's not melting, it's just kind of stuck, put this on the top of this milk, where we cooked the milk. Fill that actually up with about 1 inch of hot water or water. Put it on the stove top, bring it to a boil, and then put this as a double boiler on top, and it'll heat that milk up a little bit more, and you'll be able to see the chocolate melting. That's what I'm going to do. So again, if that champagne cools that milk down too much, which is why you want the champagne at room temperature, Then just stick it over the top of simmering water. It's a little too hot. The stove decides to take over. Heat up the water, and that will gradually heat up the chocolate so it melts with the gelatin, with the champagne, and you have your ganache. The chocolate ganache is all melted. You can actually set that aside for a moment. It's fine just as it is. And we're going to whip the whipped cream or the heavy cream. So just set aside the ganache for now. You want it to remain warm, so don't put it in the refrigerator. This will go very quickly. So what you'll want to do is get just over 3/4 a cup heavy cream. Pour that into a mixing bowl. Have a hand mixer or a whisk if you want, and you'll whisk this for about 5 minutes until soft peaks form. You just want to get some air in this. Here we go. Perfect. That took about 2.5 minutes, probably because I did cut the recipe in half. Now you could have whipped up, more than a 3/4 cup because what we're going to do when we serve this is have some whipped cream on top. But we're going to put some sugar into it, maybe some vanilla, depending on your taste, to add some different flavors. But for this profile, we don't put anything in it. We just have heavy cream. So now what we do, get a spatula. I like a big spatula, but keep your whisk nearby because you're going to use that. And slowly whisk this into the ganache. And this is why you want it to be warm, so it just kind of melts into it. And don't be too delicate with the folding. We're not making a souffle here. You are going to keep the air in it. Just do gentle. That's why you don't want to do the whisk. You'll do the little bit of a whisking at the end, but we're going to do gentle with the spatula. And then just keep adding it in. No particular amount, just gradual. Don't do it all at once. So you can just gradually keep it going in, but again, it's still going to taste really good. Okay. And the last bit. There's something simple about this, but at the same time elegant about mousse. Of course, you can also make this for your cakes if you want dark chocolate champagne mousse for your cakes. If you're making layers, you absolutely can do that, or for fillings. But there's something about taking just a spoonful and just savoring it. And knowing that the ingredients are just these 4, right? Gelatin, whole milk, chocolate, and whipped cream. That's it. That's it. I mean, it's just so simple. And if you have quality chocolate, you're not gonna need that much. It's so satisfying. Maybe get a little bit more out of the pan, and then we'll whisk it up and finish it off. You just want to mix it until it's incorporated. You'll notice the dark chocolate starts to change a little bit lighter color. And you can make milk chocolate too if you want. You can make whatever chocolate you want here. So now what I'm going to do is get the whisk in here. Just do a finishing whisk. Notice I'm not beating it to death. I just don't want any lumps of heavy cream. I want it to look like pudding. But it is not pudding. This is mousse. And folks, that is it. Taste it if you like. There's a little bit of that kick, a little bit of something there, right? You're not sure what it is, but then you made it, so then you know. Yeah. It's a lovely combo of sparkle, and chocolate. Now, pick whatever type of dish you want to serve these in. I've chosen all different sorts in a small little juice glass. I've chosen a brandy snifter. I've chosen a champagne glass. Whichever ones you want, whichever ones you have. They could be in anything you want. So when we put these in the refrigerator, we'll put them in the refrigerator for 45 minutes. And while they are chilling, we'll make the whipped cream to put on top. So my cupboard is where I would go to decide, okay, what am I gonna put them in? Now you really could, you could put them in the champagne coupe. Since it is champagne in there, that might be a great way of signifying what's in them. Or as I mentioned, I use using a juice glass, as you can see here. Okay. Or this is the brandy snifter that I use. Or simply a ramekin. So it's up to you. Whatever you have, whatever you want. And this is where it's fun to go to brocants or flea markets or antique shops or shopping online in consignment antique shops and just looking for things that are unique. Maybe there's just 4 of them, maybe there's just 2 of them. And you bring them home, and for these kind of occasions you put them in these something special dishes, and it just elevates. This is where mousse becomes something special and is not just another dessert. So now let's put these in. Oh yeah, look at that, it just goes in. And that's the thing with the coupe, it goes in, it pours in so much easier. Look at that. No mess, nothing. I have to do 2 of those. This one also has a wide mouth, so it should be easy. There we go. And I'm gonna do 1 more coupe. So you know how to, this would be easy, but you can, and I've done this many times, but let's do another coupe. I like using my champagne coupes for wine, not just champagne, but I do use them for champagne too. And don't fill them entirely to the top. Leave a smidge of the glass available because you are going to put some heavy whipping cream on top after it is chilled. All right, these are going to go in the refrigerator for 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'll make the topping. All right, so when you serve this dish, you can absolutely just leave it as it is and eat it. Chocolate, that's it, that's all. Done that before, it's really good. And it keeps it simple. Then there's another way to add just a little bit of more flavor, more layers of flavor. Keep your hand mixer out that you had. You don't have to clean it, that's fine. Maybe clean out the bowl so you don't have chocolate, if some of the chocolate residue got into your previous whipped cream. And you don't even have to really measure the whipping cream you're going to put in here now. I would put, close to a half a cup. No more than a cup. And what you're going to do is add about a half a teaspoon of sugar. And if you want, have your vanilla ready. So here we go, we're going to mix this up. I'm going to stop and I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And that's it. That's all you have to do. There you go. 2 minutes later, not even that, you have your whipped cream. Now, that's probably still chilling if you just started making this right after you put it in the refrigerator. So you can stick this in the refrigerator as well and wait. And that's really all it is. So let's wait for the mousse to be set and we'll dive in. So as I mentioned, I made a batch ahead of time, and this is actually without champagne, just to let you know that you don't have to put champagne in. You can just have dark chocolate, no champagne, and it's so good as well. But this was more than 2 hours. It does not need to be 2 hours. It really does set up with the gelatin very quickly. But I have my champagne glass, which is more of a modern champagne glass, my juice glass, and my brandy snifter. Now this would really probably be harder to eat out of, but it just looks kind of cool, right? And it's easy to hold too. All right, so I put one in the freezer just to speed it up, and I put one in the refrigerator. Let's take a look at them. All right, so the whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, was already in the refrigerator after we made it. These were the ones without champagne that I taste tested. So this front one was in the refrigerator, and this one was in the freezer. Not too much difference. This one does feel a little firmer than this one. This one, yeah, just barely though. So if you're in a rush and you really need your chocolate and you don't want to wait around 45 minutes, stick it in the freezer. Now, let's put some whipped cream on top. You can do it however you want. Okay. Oh, I like that touch of vanilla. And then with the extra bar that you have, or any kind of chocolate that you want, get a scraper if you have a chocolate scraper, or you could use a fork, and holding the chocolate bar with the scraper underneath it, just scrape it so you have some sprinkles. Some shavings, I guess we should say. Perfect. And there we have our Champagne Dark Chocolate Mousse. Let's take a bite. All right, so let's get a spoon, a petite spoon. And I will say that the longer I leave it in the refrigerator, so I mentioned that these had been left in there for 2 hours, makes sense, the harder it's gonna get. Now, if you really want your mousse to be thick and really, you know, have a lot of density and viscosity to it, wait longer. If you just want a little bit more than pudding, if you want a little bit of movement, then I suggest dive in after 30 minutes. This is the freezer one. That's the consistency that I like. I don't want to have to dig with my spoon. I like it to just go in, glide through, and give me some chocolate. And there's just that little extra something that's more than chocolate. It's another layer, as we always talk about. It just adds a little, I don't know how to describe it. Sparkle, the sparkling wine, little extra deliciousness. I like it. There's an airiness to it. It's not alcoholic at all. Oh. Now let's in. Come on, Miss Debbie. It's just something extra special. It's that little extra dollop like the whipped cream. So the next time you're looking for something chocolatey and want to take it up a step, but don't want to do extra work, come home, make Champagne Dark Chocolate Mousse, and you will have a satiated appetite and a very happy meal. Now to relax, shall we? Thank you for joining me, and I'm gonna have a few more bites of this, but I hope you enjoy your day, enjoy your food, and enjoy stepping into the kitchen. Bonjour. This is good. You can have chocolate, but it is very good.